Good morning, it's Monday, April 15th, 2024, 9 a.m. This is Muscatine County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Scott, second by Kurt. Any further discussion? The only note I would make is on item, I don't know what it is. 5, we are not creating indigent or cremation rates, so just a typo in the deal. Item number 3, I have a motion to the agenda. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 3, discussion and possible action to approve claims dated April 15th, 2024 in the amount of $3,049,235.31.
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? I note there's a bunch of budget transfers in there that drive those numbers up pretty high for folks. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Item 4 is a public hearing on the proposed 24-25 Muscatine County budget. So we are now in a public hearing. Anyone from the public wishes to address the board on the budget, feel free to step to the podiums.
Want me to do a quick recap, or?
Sure, why don't you do that,
I
Kayla?
have just a couple.
Because I do know we have a number of people that watch from home on the,
So I just have a couple slides that's a quick recap of what we budgeted. So we have, there we go. These are our expenditures, which is around 60 million. You can see the breakdown over here of capital projects is the highest one at 28%, and that's because we have the $6.5 million levy project still in there. There's about $6.5 million in secondary roads construction projects. I broke out the ARPA projects so that we could show them separately, even though those are considered capital projects, so that's about 12%. You have 26% over in public safety and legal services. Then you go down to 15% for roads and transportation, and then all the rest of them are below 10% for administration, debt service, government services, county environment, education, and then physical health and social services. And then we have our revenues, which is close to 37 million, and you can see half of that's coming from property tax. 33% is intergovernmental, so that's gonna be our federal inmate revenue, state and federal grants, road use taxes. Then you have, 6% is local option sales tax, 5% is use of money and property, and that's gonna be our interest. And then 3% for charges for services, 1% for credits to taxpayers, and miscellaneous.
okay? Thank you, Kayla.
You're welcome.
Okay, if seeing no one come forward, I'd accept a motion to close the,
I'd move to close the public hearing.
so a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Kurt. This is a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
Public hearing is now closed. Item 4A, discussion possible action to approve the following, resolution 04-15-2401, the approval of elected officials fiscal year 24-25 salaries. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Scott, second by Danny. It's a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Item B, resolution 04-15-2402, adopting fiscal year 24-25 county budget.
Move to approve.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Kurt. It's a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
And item C, resolution 04-15-2403, encumbering local assistance and tribal consistency funds.
Move to approve.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Danny. It's a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Okay. Item number 5 is discussion and possible decision regarding our request to increase the current Muscatine County indigent cremation rate with Community Services Director, Disability Service Coordinator, Jessica Bose. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning. So hopefully you have this in your packet. They do.
Currently, the price of a direct cremation is $2,795 plus an additional $600 if a person is over 350 pounds. We are currently paying $1,000 to the cremation, and then an additional $250 if the person is over 350 pounds. We are currently the lowest paying county in our area, so we would like to increase it to 1,500, and then an additional 600. If I'm sorry, 250 still if they're over 350 pounds. And anyone who comes in asking for benefits for cremation, they meet with our general assistance person, and they must meet certain criteria. They must be under 100% of the poverty guidelines, a Muscatine County resident, and infants must be at 21 weeks gestation or greater. So our GA person who's currently right now, Ashley, she sits down and goes through an application with them, looks at their accounts, looks at any assets they may have, and then if they meet the under the asset level, then we pay $1,000 to have the person cremated. We do not pay for any kind of burial or anything like that, just the cremation. So at this point, we are requesting that additional $500 because it's a cost to the funeral homes that they have been willing to accept $1,000, but they're getting a little less willing to do that. We did 13 since July of 2023 until now. So it's not a huge amount, but it is enough that the funeral homes are probably losing out when they get one of our.
And do you feel like in your next year's budget that you'd be able to cover that additional expense adequately?
Yes.
Okay. So we'd say probably could be, I know you never know how many burials you're gonna have, but probably another 4,000 or 5,000 possibly in a year.
That money currently gets paid to the funeral homes. You guys use it, all the funeral homes in town, or you got one specific?
I think we can use all of them, but I believe that there's one that is more willing to do it, and I don't have the name off the top of my
Okay.
head. But I think Ashley has worked out a deal with them so that they'll do it at the lower cost.
So is the one that we currently use, have they been pushing you guys for the rate increase?
Not really hard, but they've mentioned a few times that it's a cost.
Is there any private contribution in addition to what the county would pay, or is that just it?
That would be part of the application. So if they have, let's say they have $300 in savings, they could pay that, and then we make up the difference.
Yeah, I think a number of years ago, I remember when we took it to $965 or something, and there's a pretty thorough process to look at assets and family to see if there's any contributions that can be made to help with the burials, but this is kind of a last resort.
And this would be separate from if they qualify for any veterans benefits or anything else in our office.
I'm just trying to understand, if the funeral home isn't asking for an increase, why would we just recommend to give them an increase?
They have asked, they haven't been forceful on it. They have asked if we can go higher, especially because the other counties, Clinton County's 1,700, Scott County's 1,600, and Johnson County's 2,200. Those are the counties in our GA region, General Assistance Region, and they're all higher than that. So certain funeral homes are in the different counties, and they have asked if we could increase it to at least 1,500.
Okay.
I would move the approval.
I'd second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 6 is the ARPA Digitizing Records Project Completion Update with County Recorder Sarah Hurst. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, how are you?
Doing well.
We just have wrapped that up. It's very exciting. We're have all of our records now digitized, and in a couple of weeks, I think, is when we have our final, where they're going to move those into our Eagle system, so it'll be searchable in our recording system in any office, going back to the 1800s.
So other offices outside of yours will also be able to
Any of them that have the Eagle program now, yes. So it'd be
And that-
the auditor's office and the assessor's office
Okay,
would
so-
have
okay. And so that's,
access to our historical records.
and that was the digitization and the indexing that they did for
Yes,
us.
yes. And it'll be helpful for them, because like right now, if they have to come downstairs and look for it, or send us an email, say, can you pull this record, because it's old?
And did we come in within budget on that? That was a quoted service that was done.
Yeah, we came in, I think, just a little bit under budget.
And that was, we used the ARPA funds to fund that.
Yes. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
Okay.
All right, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 7, items with County Engineer Brian Horowski.
Good morning.
First up is utility permits.
Yes, we have 2 utility permits today. The first is from Eastern Iowa Light and Power REC of Wilton, Iowa. REC is requesting to trench a power cable at the end of Jeffrey Lane to provide power to 2369 Jeffrey Lane. They're retiring some overhead existing line. The second one is also from Eastern Iowa Light and Power, REC of Wilton, Iowa. They're requesting to trench a 1-inch interduct that they're going to put fiber optic cable inside along the back of the right-of-way between 3 poles along 230th Street, just west of Blue Heron. That one's a little out of the norm, but they're putting it in for communication, so they can kind of talk to some of their equipment that's out there.
I'd move to approve.
A motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Kurt. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Anything else, Brian?
I just wanted to remind everyone, we do have a letting tomorrow. It's at the DOT. It's for our Moscow Road, Portland overlay. It's going from F70 north to Highway 6. So there's been a lot of interest in it so far, a lot of questions about it. So we really hope it's a competitive bid. So next week I'll probably have a contract to approve, hopefully. So.
Brian, have you heard anything more on the levee work and when they'll start seeing activity down there and building Hall roads and all that?
I believe they're hoping within the next couple weeks.
I just want to make sure anybody here in the public and anybody watching us understands that a major project going on the levee. They're going to borrow sand out of Deep Lakes Park and stage it over, so there'll be a lot of heavy equipment traffic down in that area, down on Pettibone and across and down, really down south to Louisa County. So everybody please travel carefully and safely, because there will be a lot of heavy construction equipment working for several months. Thank you,
Yeah,
Brian.
that's slated for completion by late summer, early fall, if I,
One in the end of September, one end of October, I believe,
Yeah.
of the 2 different, I think the south end is supposed to be done in September.
Yes, I believe.
The overtopping
Or
structure down
earlier.
by the pumping station down there, and then the work along the levee, which is primarily Maple Grove Road, and then in that area, is supposed to be completed by October.
I believe the majority of the work so far has just been mobbing equipment and
right.
prepping site.
Yeah, I've seen trucks on the road. I don't know where they were going here or going to the 61 south, but the size of the vehicles, they're not normal road traffic, so everybody needs to be aware and be safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, item number 8, discussion possible action to accept the county auditor's report of fees collected for the quarter ending March 31st, 2024 in the amount of $34,999.66.
Move to approve.
A motion by Scott,
I'll second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item 9 is discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the April 8th, 2024 regular meeting.
Move to accept.
I have a motion by Kurt,
I'll second.
second by Danny. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Correspondence. Scott, did you have anything this week?
Nothing to note.
I had nothing to note. Danny?
I didn't have anything.
Kurt?
I had a call on, issue on 140th Street, Level B Road, and I talked to Brian about it this morning, and I'll give the answer back to the resident, Tom Hilliard.
Okay. How about committee reports, Kurt?
I had none.
Danny?
I had none.
I had none either.
And I had none.
Okay. Item 12 is items with the administration office. 12A is discussion of possible action authorizing the chair to execute an agreement for collaborative partnership to continue a community grant writer position for 24-25.
I'll move.
A motion by Danny,
I'll second.
second by Scott. Any discussion? I would just note that we've done this for a couple of years and it's had, been very successful in getting a number of grants within the county, different organizations, so it appears like it's been a good investment. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Anything else, Nancy?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, item 13 is receive information from county employees. Any county employees wish to address the board on item not on the agenda? Seeing none come forward. Receive comments from the public. Other members of the public wish to address the board on an item not on today's agenda? Seeing no one come forward. We're gonna take about a 3-minute recess. We'll come back at 9:20 and then we're gonna go into a non-public section.